Welcome back to Negronis with Nord. This is episode 103, and I am not James Nord. This is actually a third rendition of Ghia with the Girlies. I'm Sophie Wood. I'm a director of strategy here at Fohr, and I don't know how, but I am now guest hosting Negronis with Nord, I think within a month of each other, and I'm usually only a 2-time annual appearance, so
I think you're doing numbers on the YouTube, that's why.
I'm coming for James's throat. I'm coming to steal his job. Every time I say that, I hope he knows I'm joking. Or also the reason I'm guest spotlighting is because James and exec crew are in Cannes. The little dogs are here to hold it down. This morning, James posted in Cannes that he was waking up at 5:50 a.m. and was like, we're not built the same, so that he could go on a bike ride. First of all, don't know how he got his bike in France, but okay. But second of all, I was cackling because I had just sent a selfie of myself to my friend's group chat at 5:45 a.m. and said broke people should never laugh because I was on my way to a workout class at 5:45 a.m. And so I sent the screenshot of both of ours to James and I was like, love that we both have this superiority complex this morning. Anyways, I'm cosplaying as James in more ways than one today. Got the blazer this time, the Harvard Business Review. Okay, so I think what we're gonna do today is a Q&A rapid fire. I asked on my Instagram if anyone had any questions that they wanted me to answer in relation to Fohr, influencer marketing, etc., etc. So that's what we're gonna get into today. If you wanna ask any questions, you can leave a comment on this video, or you can shoot me a DM at GoodwoodX, or you can shoot Fohr a DM at fohr.co.
Does Fohr do trainings for startup marketing teams to learn?
Yes and no. So we won't just like do them willy-nilly. Well, one thing is that you can always join our webinars, which are usually pretty informative. We have managed campaigns, which is usually for higher budget campaigns where it's like a white glove service. But then we also have a SaaS platform. We have proprietary technology, which is just more cost effective. So if you are a startup company, sometimes that's where you'll kind of land just based on budget. That being said, if you want to have a lower investment level, but you do want that kind of coaching, you can absolutely get that being a SaaS client. We have a customer success team that is available to you whenever you want, but then also all of our clients, including SaaS, get access to this whole like training module that we have where we filmed several videos that are like our tips and tricks in how to do the influencer marketing process, which is only available to Fohr clients. So if that is something you're interested in doing in like a more cost-effective way, hit us up, sales@fohr.co, say you're interested in the SaaS platform and we can tell you more about it. But I think that's the best way to go about it for startups if you are dealing with like a lower budget.
Can you tell me the difference between influencer versus content creator?
I think this is a highly debated topic, but one way that I like to think about it is an influencer is someone who has an audience that they can actually persuade and influence them to believe a certain thing or drive them to make some sort of action. If you're a political influencer, that could be making someone believe in your political ideology, or you're persuading them to go and get out the vote. If you're more of like a traditional influencer, that's like getting someone to shop your link and actually make a purchase. Those are like the ways that you can actually influence somebody. That being said, there are people online who are more like content creators in the sense that a content creator can be someone with a smaller audience who creates really fabulous content where a brand could work with them simply to just make UGC, which is called user generated content. Basically, it just is like made by a human and is not produced by a brand. That is when content creators are really great for brands because they're someone with a smaller following who can make really great content for you. Also, there is such thing as content creators who have huge platforms. Like I feel like some people are baffled when they see an quote unquote influencer that's really a creator who has like 500,000 followers and they're like, wait, why are you also an Uber Eats driver? Like, shouldn't this career be able to fund your lifestyle? They're not someone that can actually drive their audience to action, and that can usually be figured out in ways like comment sentiment or engagement, or like if brands have worked with them in the past and it just like hasn't actually equated into any type of return on investment. So in that sense, that person is more of a content creator, less of an influencer.
Thoughts on pros/cons of AI for content generation? I'm seeing a lot of this going on.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't feel like super passionately in the cons. Like I feel like, actually that's not true. The pros are that it can be, cost effective. It can just be fun. Like I think the action figure set was like a really fun idea that like people got to play into, and it was actually cool to see how people prompted it to like turn into themselves, which in and of itself is a skill. But like that stuff I think is fun and like pretty harmless. I don't want to get into the whole climate situation of it all. I don't want AI and generating content to take away from like real artists. And I think there is something that cannot be replicated by human touch. And like a concept that we've been thinking about a lot internally at Fohr is that AI cannot replicate taste. Like that is something that is innately human that you will just not get with AI. There's something a little bit like lifeless or just like is missing this je ne sais quoi about AI that you just get with a human touch. So I think that's the con with it mainly. I also think that like some brands are going to get carried away a bit. Like they'll get too excited about the cost effectiveness and then they'll just lose all human aspect of anything. And what's the fun in that?
Yeah, how can we as marketers better adapt to AI in the influencer space? Do you see it changing?
It can get rid of some of the busy work, especially when it comes to reporting. Fohr is actually in the process of adding AI tools into our technology. So like I had mentioned before, we have our own proprietary tech. One of the most like daunting or just annoying things about reporting is having to like dig for insights or having to manually calculate data and pull out top performers, all of that. But with this new tool, you'd be able to basically say like, can you tell me who the top performers were? How did Instagram compare to TikTok? Blah, blah, blah. Like these are prompts that you can just put into AI that it'll then spit out the answer for you so that you don't have to do it manually, and that'll save you time. That's what I think will be really valuable, is like taking out the busy work. That being said, I tried to use AI when I ran a huge survey a few weeks ago for the new almanac that's coming out. And when I would ask it to basically analyze data for me, I would find that it was often wrong. So like we do need to fix that. I don't know how reliable AI is going to be, but that's happened to me quite often where I've been like, actually, I don't think that's correct. And it's like, oh, you're right. That actually wasn't correct. And I'm like, bitch, you're a fucking robot. Like, if you should be able to do anything, it's fucking analyze data. Like, it's fucking math, bitch. Like, anyways. AI is not coming for our jobs. I was just in a meeting today and I have a screenshot of this where someone's AI note taker, the one action item at the end of an hour and a half long meeting was that one of the people in the meeting needed to get reading glasses. Are you joking? We just all yapped for an hour and a half. And that's the one takeaway. Babe, AI is not coming for our jobs. If that's the AI we're all referring to, fuck no.
Is there a certain genre of influencer marketing that you see as more successful?
I think there's no silver bullet to influencer marketing. It really depends on what your goal is. For instance, if your goal is to convert and like have really clear sales conversions, then affiliate marketing probably makes the most sense for you. But if your goal is brand perception, doing something bold and splashy and disruptive, probably with someone who has a bigger audience or is stuntier, is probably your best bet. So it kind of just depends. Or another use case is like if you want to become a leader in the space or like do something more value led, then building a like long-term ambassador program that's like really rooted in a mission makes sense for you. So for example, we built Sephora Squad, we built Dick's Varsity Team. Those were like both the goal behind it, and we were able to accomplish it with an ambassador program. Me personally, I enjoy working on like big idea influencer marketing the best just because I think it's the most fun. We often call these like big swings, and it's an avenue that we've built into a lot of our programming, but it's basically coming up with a big idea that is usually tied to a specific talent or like a specific archetype. For example, one of the big swings our team came up with was to work with Levi Corlin for MAC Cosmetics, where it was for the Show Me Your Nudes campaign, where she took a Polaroid of herself nude, put on a MAC nude lipstick, and kissed it and gave it to her boyfriend as a Valentine's Day present. That was like a really cheeky and fun way in. I always think those are fun. One that we recently did with Ollie was that we worked with Grant and Ash, who are also known as a twink and a redhead, where they cosplayed as like, did this whole Sacagawea bit to basically plug Ollie's new like superfoods gut health product, which was so fucking funny, but it got like 50% viewership. And the goal for that was really just to like show up in unexpected ways and be disruptive and have breakthrough content. So that's why it made sense there. But I just think those are so fun to come up with. I love those.
What makes someone a good candidate to work at Fohr?
Yes, I love this question. Well, we have 5 values, I think. Let me see if I can list them. I definitely can. Optimism, curiosity, individualism, excellence, my favorite, and camaraderie. So I would say anyone who is exuding all 5 of those values or like really excels in 1 or 2 of them, I feel like is my guiding light when I'm interviewing someone. Also someone who just like really believes in the mission of Fohr, which is that influencer marketing is going to become the number one, how do we say it? influencer marketing is going to become the #1 form of advertising. That is like our mission. So someone who comes in and like firmly believes in that is a huge green flag to me. And also I think someone who's chronically online, like when we ask them a question of like, who are your favorite creators at the moment? Or like, what is a cultural signal you're seeing? And they'll kind of just like go down this rabbit hole of something really niche, to me is really exciting. It like shows that there's someone who's interesting and also interested. Also, knowing that they've done their homework on Fohr and they're familiar with our work. I think when we come in and someone's like, oh, I loved that you guys did the New York City unofficial influence map. I loved that you had XYZ creator. It shows that like they've done their research on Fohr and are actually familiar with our culture and our way of thinking, and like they're aligned enough to have been in this interview. So I think that that's also something that we really look for. I think it's a bummer when we'll like bring something up and you can tell they've never heard of it before. It's like, oh damn, I wish you had just like scrolled through our Instagram feed before you took this interview.
Are they going to be interviewed by you at any point?
If you're interviewing for a strategy position or a more higher up client services position, it is likely that you will be interviewed by me at some point. If you do get through to like the second or third round, which is always fun.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Always looking for fun workflow organizational tools / fave softwares, etc.
Okay, I have a hot take about this. People love project management platforms, and when I say that, I'm talking about like Monday or Trello or Asana, I think it's called. This is actually part of my leadership document. When I like onboard a new employee who's reporting into me, I just flat out say I hate those programs. I think they're really duplicative of work. Like, what happened to a Google Calendar? What happened to a to-do list? I think it's like more duplicative to have to onboard somebody and how to like use this new software that they've maybe never used before, but then also have to like constantly update with every single minuscule task that they're doing for the sake of me having purview into it. I don't really see the benefit in that. I think if you personally like that, go crazy. I don't care to see all of the little to-dos that my direct reports are doing. It's just not really my style. I like trust them to get their work done when they get their work done. And so usually that just means we have a stand up on Monday. Everyone runs through the main projects that they're working through for the week, tells us what the deadlines are. And then I know that I can just trust my team to get their work done on those deadlines. I think I'm also lucky that we have a fabulous team that we can trust to do that. So I don't feel the need to have any of those programs. But yeah, I personally hate any type of software like that. And I don't want to make my reports do them either. Slack isn't program management. Slack is like just communication with your team, which I am a huge yes, because I hate email. I only like to contact people via Slack. My email right now is at 290, I think, because I'm CC'd on every campaign, every account that I work on, all the executional threads. So my inbox is constantly stacked, and because I'm a strategist and not a direct client report, most of it I don't have to like be reading every single granular detail. So that's why I prefer Slack, because it's usually when someone can just flag when something is actually urgent to me. I don't understand huge companies that only use Gmail and GChat. That's weird. That's so odd. That's when you open the can of worms to making employees text each other, and that's when shit gets weird. Okay, that's all the questions we have for today's episode. If you have any other questions that you want to ask James when he's back next week, you can drop a comment below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, say how fabulous I was. You can follow Fohr on Instagram at fohr.co. You can follow me at GoodwoodX on all platforms. And you can subscribe to my new Substack, which is thirddrawer.substack.com. Okay, love you. Bye.
I saw that you rated Materialists 3 stars.
Yes, for context, Aaron thinks that I rate everything way too high than it should be, so a 3 stars is really low for me. Okay, so this was by a TikTok user, 4B Forever. They said the Materialist was nothing but a true-to-life horror film about how trauma and low self-esteem limit women's choices and send them spiraling back to exes they know they can't give them what they want. Women deserve financial security and love. Bro, I walked out of that, I was just like pissed. And like my review was, this was so good until it wasn't. And I think it just didn't go my way and just left me kind of like, could we just get a piece of material that would make me a little bit optimistic about my love life in New York? Like, can we be fucking for real? Past Lives was so incredible. And it just feels like this movie was backed by a big studio that maybe they just had too much of a heavy hand in the script and it kind of ran away from her. It was either that or this was supposed to be satire and we didn't know it was satire. And if that's the case, satire isn't effective when no one knows that it's satire. So, flop.
Scorched earth.